Thanks, ladies, for joining me this morning, and just want to honor what you have built in our industry. I think the LLA and Stay Boutique is it's such a powerful organization. Your everything that you do is done with such excellence and beauty as well, which I love. And I'm a huge fan of boutique hotels, been in that side of the industry most of my life. I've never been a big brand person. Nothing wrong with them. It's just not my style. And so, just the organization that you've built and how you've done it, I just want to say thank you for what you've done in the industry and the impact that you have and will continue to have. It's so much appreciated. And how you've given back during this time of COVID. I know you guys have been working harder than ever to keep people connected, to provide resources, doing things complimentary for a lot of hotels, and has truly shown your commitment to the hospitality industry. So we greatly appreciate that. You're welcome. My first question, though, to you guys is, how are you navigating COVID? How is your family? How have you personally walked through this crisis?
Well, first I want to say, Carol, thank you for this, because normally we're doing the interviewing. So this is so amazing that we can kind of, contribute to our legacy. And I'm thinking, since I work on a lot of family stuff, so when family starts researching who was my great grandma, they can find this video. So thank you for that. As far as COVID, we have been working honestly 7 days a week to think of ways to help our amazing boutique industry recover, retain, stay with it, give them resources, bring positive things to light as much as possible. Even our conference, in September, we really didn't want to make it just a COVID conference. We wanted to really look for the positivity in this, as we're all hunkering down and especially now as we're hunkering down once again. So Ariella, what do you think?
Well, yeah, definitely with the business, which is so entangled with us personally on a personal level, definitely at the start, we went no one knew what to do. I think on a personal note, my mom and I have both, found, side passions, and I have realized how important they are, because it helps us with our business as well. It's like, boutique hotels are what we live and breathe, but it's also important to have, a passion like my mom mentioned, researching her family. And for me, it's been modern art and meditation. I think we all maybe found a new love for meditation and breathing. Yeah. But with that, it's also been, so there's been positive aspects, but then also we did lose a family member to COVID, and we've also lost.
Oh.
Yeah, we even lost, and it wasn't to COVID, but we've had 2 other deaths. One was in the BLLA family. She worked for us for a couple of years. Her name was Tyler Moore, and she helped build, if any of you were there at the 2017 and 2018 leadership conferences, the 2018 investment conference, and the 2018 female empowerment conference, she was a crucial part to building that. So if any of you knew her, she did pass away. And then, so it's really hard to have, that happen during COVID, because you can't hug anyone, you can't grieve. So that was really hard. But then, COVID's been tricky. I think we know what to do a bit more now. So I think people are less frantic at the moment, which is great. I know Europe is going back into lockdown, so people are not very happy, but I think we know what to do now. We all know how to work from home and all that. So I think it's gotten better over the course of a few months.
You have to take care of your mental side, right? You have to find, what is that? Is it meditation? Is it connecting with your friends on Zoom, girlfriends, whoever it is? Is it just reading the Bible or praying or, finding great movies to watch? It's keeping your mental state going and going outside to get the sunshine. You need your vitamin D. I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one show that has kept me sane is Schitt's Creek, and I just finished it the other night. So I'm very disappointed I don't have
Oh
any
no!
more
Well,
to
the
watch.
crown will start soon. If I don't know if you like the crown, but amazing.
Boop. No, I just I just love that show. So we're going to get on to some questions, about boutique and what I love. You transitioned recently in the past few years to being all things boutique and not just hotels. And I remember interviewing the owners of State Luggage when I did your interviews in New York, and
Yeah.
I was so impressed with them and so many others that were there. And they're all small businesses and all have been impacted in one way or the other. And so I hope that all of those businesses just see amazing results in 2021 and beyond, because it's just been so hard. And so, but that said, why are you passionate about boutique?
Well, I mean,
Oh
I
my
could
God.
kind of start there.
Yeah, you start. We're
I
both
can
like, I
start.
want to answer that.
I became passionate when I had my other company, which was a consortia hotel program and travel agency call center. And it became more and more difficult to deal with the big chains. If you wanted to have negotiated rates, as a small example, you had to sign a 50 or 100-page document. And really all she wanted to do was promote their hotel. So it became very difficult. And I just started turning my attention as I was getting more calls from independent owners requesting help. Where do I do? How do I do this? How do I reach, the travel advisors? What do I do? And it became more apparent that BLLA was being formed. And that was actually.
Oh my gosh. Carol, we found, so because of COVID, we started we started organizing things. We found the original agenda for like the thought of BLLA from 2003. I'm looking, I forget, 2003. And I started crying because it was just like, it was so beautiful. And we realized how nothing has changed. I mean, we've grown, but like, it's still our root. Okay, sorry, Mom, go on.
No, that's awesome.
I mean, I started thinking about that, and I did have a meeting with all these boutique brand CEOs, Schwader, even, Kimpton and everybody else. And
yes, we even talked about it, Fran, back then, because I was still at Kimpton. Yeah,
exactly. We had it at the Lux Sunset Hotel, the first meeting, and everybody pretty much said, go for it. We need this. We're so different, than the chains and all the hotel conferences. There's really not much in it for us there. So it really became apparent that we had to be, the leaders, with the flag and everybody following behind kind of the Piper per se. And as I went to these other conferences and spoke to a lot of the leaders, interviewing them, it became apparent that they said, this is a great idea, go for it. So I went for it and just launched it in 2009 in World Travel Market. So I just love boutiques. I love their creativity. I love their passion. And they kind of represent what I'm all about. I don't like to be put in a box. I get very uncomfortable and I kind of get angry when I go to a restaurant and I say, I'd like to replace the mushrooms with green beans. And they say, no, you can't do that. It's, I'm like, really? Is it that difficult? You've got the, green beans on the menu. Can I not just change it? So, it's similar to that in that I don't like to be held down. And I love the passion and creativity and design. And, I loved reading fashion magazines because, there's so many different fashions and art, and it all comes together in boutique hospitality. And then Ariella kind of took that to the next level.
So Ariella, you answer it as well, but then get to the next question too, in the same process is, how did your mom build this love in you? So start with why you're passionate and then kind of go back to the history of that.
Yeah. So, maybe I'll do the other way around. So it came because, I think that the passion for industry came because, like we were saying before, like ever since I was like 4 or 5, My mom would take me to all the conferences that I probably should not have gone to, like a small child. The thing was, is that I was silent and I would draw, but I think I was subconsciously also listening. So growing up in that, she always took me to these trade shows, and I loved the trade shows. One, because you got, back then, you got so much free stuff. Oh my God, early 2000s were the days. But part two, I loved exploring these different companies. Like World Travel Market used to be my favorite show as a young child, because you got to explore all these countries. So I think the passion for travel, I used to, when I was little, I don't know if you remember this, Mom, but I used to make 20-day itineraries in like Egypt from this time.
Very detailed.
And it was when I was sad, it was actually my happy place, was building travel itineraries. It was really weird. And through that, I started researching a lot of hotels to build my dream itineraries. And it started with that. And then when my mom officially launched BLLA, I think I always heard her advocating and like her why. And it really resonated with me. But of course, I was going to school full time. So it was like, hard to fully engage with it. But then I think it was travel, of course. But then it came about when I also had a passion for small businesses. It's boutique hotels, it's hospitality, but it's also small businesses, and how when you compare the two, not saying one is bad and one is good, but it's just different. There's more meaning and fulfillment behind it. And that's how I kind of viewed my career, right? As we're going to school, it's like, how do you make money? How do you make money? And I didn't just want to make money. I hated that. Like, that was dreadful to me. Like, my life was focused on making money, but it was like, what made me happy, what filled my heart, and, made me excited to wake up every morning. And for me, I just found that it was these really cool, unique hotels. And as I started engaging more with them, I also love this lifestyle of finding small businesses. Then we just started seeing these similarities between how they were built, what designers they used, what vendors they used, how they market themselves. We found more similarities with other boutique businesses than we did with non-boutique hotels. It was weird.
Yeah.
That's why we kind of started gathering them together so that they could network with each other. They could learn from each other, because I think in hospitality, we're like in this bubble, and we don't realize that there's so many other great strategies that we can also adapt that are completely outside of this industry. We were probably the first conference to do that. And I think I know that because the feedback from some people were like, you're crazy, this is stupid. So I don't think hospitality understood it yet, but I think they've come around to it, which is really great.
Yeah,
I think I answered both questions, right?
I think you did. You did great. So Fran, over to you. So how did you recognize that spark in your daughter, and then mentor and that spark? Because you have been in the industry for a long time, and I am so impressed with how you've done this as a legacy with your family. So tell us more about that and how that happened.
Sure. So, I was never really sure if Ariella was going to latch on to, my passion, hospitality. She seemed to on the travel side. And the more I took her to these events, like I think World Travel Market was when she was 13, and she had fun going around getting tattoos and stuff, right? Not real tattoos. But I think it was a culmination of so many years. She doesn't realize how talented she really is. But it comes from, it comes from too, her upbringing on, focusing on the arts. She did all the dance stuff. She did, painting and artwork. And she was always kind of a leader anyway in school. In fact, when she left high school, I actually interviewed on video all of her teachers, and I asked them, tell me about Ariella. And the clear thing was that it was her creativity and her leadership throughout her experience. And she went to her last high school for like 7 years, so she was there a long time. And I kept hearing that. In fact, when she applied to Cornell University Hospitality School, I sent in that as part of her file. And she was
Wow.
accepted, by the way, into the store.
That's the only reason, because I'm not a good tester either. Like, not
Okay, so she wasn't high on the testing stuff, but that doesn't matter. She was accepted at the school, but they told her to go away, you know, the first time. So when she went off to Europe, when she said, I'm going to London, I said, you're what? You're going to London? I said, I don't think your father's going to approve of that. But I finally talked him into it, and I moved her over there. So I went for 2 weeks and moved her into her dorm and all of that. But her years over there led me to believe that her passion about art and art history and all of that kind of leads into, you know, the true difference of boutique hospitality. And then her travel, you know, she loved to travel, and experiencing Europe, actually living there was a great opportunity for her to stay in the city and learn the city. And that just translated to, as she started meeting boutique hoteliers, you could see the passion flying. It was like she was off and running. And, you know, I think that's what culminated in her really wanting to come on board, you know, with what I had built, and now take it to that next level, which is, you know, all of her history and talent and passion coming to fruition, which we're seeing now.
Amazing, amazing. So I know this next question is really a tough one. I don't know if either of you can answer it. What is your favorite boutique hotel in the world? I don't know if you can answer that or not without, you know, causing some jealousy from all the boutique hotels that you, but tell us, you know, what has been one or two of your best experiences?
Okay, all the BLA hotel members, but then ones that kind of stick out are, I think, you know, okay, so you know this, Carol, BLA, we came out with 14 boutique hotel categories. So that's also why it's hard to choose one. But I think like just the original, I think a lot of boutique hotels in Paris really understand the true essence of a boutique hotel. Why? Because it was created there, right? So I always think of the Ritz because of customer service. I mean, the design, of course, but for them, what actually leads them for me is their customer service. When you walk in, you've never experienced customer service like that before in your life. That's one. Chiltern Firehouse in London, I think you can't beat that with the cool factor. You really can't, like, you know, with Andre Blas, you know, his Chiltern Firehouse, he's got a chateau, which he's turning into a members club. Actually, both of those hotels are beautiful and elegant in the original, you know, kind of uprising of boutique hotels. I think the St. James in Paris, it's really cool because it's not far from the Arc de Triomphe, but you don't think you're in Paris. You're right in the city center of Paris, but like you're in this village, the gates open and you think you're in the countryside of France, and it's absolutely stunning. They recently had a renovation, so I want to go back. And then my last favorite one is the Bowery. It's just the essence of New York City wrapped up into one. The exclusivity, you know, the food is great. It's just there's something in the air at the Bowery Hotel that is just New York, and the rooms are also amazing. The little teddy bears, they have little touches that I think a lot of the hotels in New York don't have. So that's also why it's one of my favorites, one of Richard Bourne's. Mom, what are your favorites?
Well, it's funny, Carol, we didn't discuss this at all, by the way. But when I was, you know, I was trying, it was really hard because I was trying to relive all my travels all over the world. And, you know, it got to be a little bit fuzzy, but the ones that really stuck out to me were like Ariella. The first ones, you know, were Paris. Number one, I loved Europe. And I don't know if it's because my mother was from there and all of that connection, but there's something so charming and quaint about Europe, every little town that you go to, no matter what. But two that really stuck out to me first in my brain was the Relais Christine in Paris. It's such an amazing design. And to take a small building that has floors going everywhere, ups and downs, and, you know, nooks and crannies. Every nook and cranny is carefully thought out, you know, notwithstanding phenomenal service that they have there, but the design and the rooms and the just everything about that property is so incredible, as is the location. And the other one was the Plaza Athénée in Paris. My older daughter Angela and I stayed there, and we had a view of the Eiffel Tower. Not only the view, but the design of the room again is so incredible. You have it at your fingertips. You can call the what do you call it?
Butler?
You can call the butler. And this was years ago. Every little detail was thought of, and the food and beverage in that hotel, to just the whole experience of walking through the property, let alone the design, and the services, just really stand out to me. In Los Angeles, I think of Petit Hermitage, because in Beverly Hills, such a unique, wonderful, wonderful boutique hotel. The owners are such a legacy in the boutique hospitality industry, the Ashkenazi brothers, and everything about that property just leaks boutique, upscale boutique experiences. I think that's why the entertainment industry loves that property as well. So those are my.
You guys you're making me want to get back to Paris so badly. I went like twice a year. I was always there on my birthday. This is my birthday week, and I couldn't go to Paris this year.
Happy belated birthday.
It makes me sad. And thank you. But it makes me so sad that I can't go right now. I cannot wait until we can travel again. Right? It's just been we've always all been on the road, and it's just crazy that we can't be. And so I'm looking forward to us being able to do that again soon. Maybe we'll all have to meet in Paris for
I love
that.
Let's do that. Let's have a conference there. Okay.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's see. So getting to recovery now, there's some good news that's come out this week about a vaccine. Some airlines are starting to do that rapid testing. Some cities are, Hawaii, is if you could get a test in 72 hours, negative test, right, you can come. So how do you think boutique hotels are going to recover differently, maybe from like the big brands? And what do you think the things are that are unique about boutique that would lend to perhaps a faster recovery than a big box hotel?
I think it depends. I think this kind of, sorry, Mom, if you don't mind me starting with this.
Go ahead.
It's like what we were talking about with some of our speakers at the summit is like the difference. There's a difference between a hotelier and a boutique hotelier. And we're seeing now, because my mom and I, aside from BLLA, we also have a consulting firm called Boutique Money Group. And it kind of just came about because people were reaching out to BLLA and wanted help. But we're noticing that those who have a strong passion for what they do, they're going to get strategic, they're going to get flexible and figure things out. If this really wasn't what you wanted to do in life, you're going to sell for any price and get out of the industry. That's what we're noticing on like an ownership side. It's not easy. I think, in hospitality, I think a lot of the people in the last 10 years were like, it's like a sexy career. I own a hotel. They don't realize what goes into it, and it's really funny. But I think now with COVID, there are people who do it right, who love what they do. I mean, you can look at Lark Hotels with Robert Blood. Phenomenal, very strategic. They know how to make profitable small hotels. And they just launched a program, helping guys out who maybe were like, I didn't really want to do this. And they can help take over the management and all that good stuff. So I think people who love boutique hospitality and know how to do it right are helping out those who, maybe made a mistake in entering the industry, things like that. But I think with boutique hotels versus, and that's how I think we're also different, because with big chains, I think it's a completely different story. We know when COVID hit, all the corporate teams were gone, and all the hotels are now left to fend for themselves. They thought that they have this, big giant power helping them. They did find the loophole in the small business loans. We all know that. But I think aside from that, it was very different than what they were expecting. I think that people saw the advantages of being independent, because you could do what you want. If you think that this strategy is going to work to bring in more revenue, to save your business, you can do it. You don't have to ask 15 people or get a penalty. It was just very different. That was my take. We're starting in, I would say, I thought it would start in September, but starting in October, we're really seeing a shift in hands of ownership, specifically because of what I was saying before. So I think that's the difference. But there are those people who know what they're doing, like Lifehouse, Lark Hotels, Pally Society, and they're all starting these programs. So that's my take.
Yeah.
Mom, what about you?
I mean, what I'm starting to see and hear about are higher occupancies in the boutique sector. Not everybody, but certainly a lot. I would say, more the majority than the minority are experiencing higher occupancies because people do want to get out. They're being super creative, in creating, a hotel by day type of thing, or office by day, or memberships, including, both, including, if you do a monthly membership for this much money, we'll include a few nights in there, but you come every day or 3 days a week or 5 days a week to get out of the house, away from the kids or what have you. We keep it safe and so on. So that's really helping their occupancy. They're being very, very creative. We also see, posts. So a hotel that I'm working with on finding strategic capital for right now in Northern California sent me a post last week from one of their customers. It was incredible. I mean, the kudos from the general manager, who is not sitting behind a desk anymore, by the way. The whole team has changed and everybody's wearing lots of different hats, whatever it takes. And I mean, this was a lengthy, TripAdvisor review. It was just amazing. And I think I'm seeing a lot more of those as well in the boutique sector. So people are wanting to travel, even if they can only drive and they're not, as comfortable flying at the moment. Although I do see a lot more people flying as well. I know that flights were up, I think 39% or so. So, and I do see people wanting to stay in smaller properties. So business is not back by any means, but, and I mean business travel as well. But I am starting to see that uptick.
Well, I think
Great.
also,
That's good news. Yeah. Go ahead, Ariella.
I was just thinking also what we were talking about when we were saying about our favorite boutique hotels. I think what I've been noticing about a lot of them and what we've been seeing too is that with the rise of the boutique movement, somehow design defined that it was a boutique hotel, which that's just one small part as to what makes you boutique. You don't have to be beautifully designed and spend $5 billion on some marble. Like, that's not what it's all about. Somehow it got to that stereotype, which BLA, we're trying to define it, as you know. But I think what it comes down is, like, we're going back to what true hospitality is. Like, what's the true nature of hospitality? It's our theme for one of our conferences next year, because we're really tired of people only talking about design. Like, it is, what is the customer service, the little details, the food, that there's so much more that goes into it. And I think with COVID, people started realizing how more important those small details are, since you can't do the big details like a great check-in. But I mean, even if it's like something handwritten, or even from a digital standpoint, getting to know your customer before they're on their property. What do they like? Give them a small survey, when they leave, keep engaged with them, do fun social media things, partner with local businesses in some ways so that you're not only helping your smaller hotel, but you're helping other smaller businesses. And I think that's what we've seen boutique truly shine in the last few months, even though we're all hurting with money. But like I was telling you before, I think for a lot of the hotels and those that work in these boutique hotels, it's not all about the money. It's, they find some sort of fulfillment in what they do every day. So, yeah.
No, and I think that's a great point, Ariella. I think that that we are getting back to some of those basics. I've had a fortunate opportunity to stay in a few hotels since March now, and what I noticed, I was in a hotel last week in San Diego, and there are some services that have been paused, right? They're not entering your room for daily housekeeping. So I think we can do a better job around how we manage that, to be honest. But what I will say is that the people that were there wanted to be there. They smiled, they were friendly, they were so thankful to have people checking into hotels, and they were so thankful to have their jobs. And you could tell, like, from every person we encountered, was so friendly. And then we have a client, a wonderful client in New York, and we're just doing a recap for their ownership this week. And they stayed open during the whole time. They never shut down. They have some extended stay based, and because their rooms are larger, and they have a suite inventory with kitchens and things. So they were able to stay open. And we're now #1 in the Star Report since hotels have started reporting again.
Wow.
We're up. I mean, 180% RevPAR index, that kind of thing. It's crazy. And part of it is because of, their focus around what they're doing and how they're delivering it, and how we partner together for results with them. And I think, so many hotels pulled so far back in delivering any kind of service. And I get it. I get it from a cost standpoint. But we're hoteliers. We need to have hospitality. And I think boutique hotels are 100 times better at delivering on that experience. All of us wouldn't be doing what we're doing if we didn't believe that, right? But that said, what are some recommendations you ladies have around how we can deliver that experience when maybe our bar can't be open, which was a huge part of, or our restaurant can't serve in the same way, or we can't give daily housekeeping, or there's plexiglass between you and the guest with masks on, and you can't hear each other, so you have to yell at each other. It's so much has changed. So what are some of the little things or even big things we can do to improve that guest experience, even in the midst of COVID?
Mom, me or you?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I interviewed the CEO of Fashion Hotels, and here we go with Paris again, right? And, he really took us around the room and showed us a lot of the things that they're doing, such as, and there are other hotels in Europe that do this, but like the mini bar, as an example, right? They're stocking the mini bar, and it's only for the guest. So when the guest leaves, all the mini bar stuff leaves, but everything is complimentary in the mini bar. And that will solve your experience with food and beverage if you put the right items in there for them to enjoy. And that's an upgraded experience. They also talked about, yes, contactless check-in, contactless everything, right? However, they do allow their guests to make a decision on whether they want to check in at the front desk or they want to check in on their phone, and they want to open the door on their phone. That's up to them. There's also, when they arrive on the floor, there is a person there that is available if you do need help. So, they're kind of supplementing their services in a way that is kind of a menu list of things, because every customer is different. When it comes to cleaning the room, me personally, I just want to say I never really like housekeeping coming in every day. I'm just that kind of person. I make the bed myself. I don't know if it's because I have hospitality ingrained in me, but I never really wanted someone coming into my room. And if I needed towels, I asked for towels. And I think everybody should not 100% expect that anyway. So that's an extra service. If you need towels, then you'll ask for them, right? So I think the expectation of the customer, if you communicate it before they arrive, I know that we're used to our restaurant and our bar being open, but as Paris is shut down or New York is shut down right now. However, we have put things in your room, in your mini bar for you to enjoy and experience on the house. Little things like that can make such a difference.
I want to second that. That's such a good point, because making it so clear, because you're still showing on your website that you offer all these amenities. I think a lot of hotels are forgetting to communicate what's not available. I went to one And it was just a beautiful property anyways, but it was not communicated what was open and what was not. So I'd like planned to do all these things and then like couldn't do any of it, like could barely go to the pool, which I understood, but like my expectations were here. Oh, where's my camera? Here, and they ended up being here just because I was disappointed. But I think also it's, if you can invest a lot, there's so many free resources online, but if you can, get a digital marketing specialist, because it is the present, it was the past, it's been the past for a while, and it's going to be so much of the future. And this is when, don't start later, start now, because you need to stay engaged with your customer. You need to know like random things. You can find so much off of someone's Instagram specifically. Follow them. Are they into like birth signs? You could do something like mine is aquamarine, like doing these small little details. I remember who taught me that was when I worked as a pool girl at the Montage Beverly Hills. Another company bought it last year, so it's not the Montage anymore.
The Mayborn.
So weird. It's always going to be the Montage to me. But they taught me that, like, find out, like, overhear their conversations. Like, were they planning on doing this? Surprise them with that. We have to go back, right, to hospitality from back in the day. Those small details are so important, but you can also utilize digital marketing as well to really expand on that. So going back to those small details, and then getting your digital marketing in place, from emails to social media to even your website. And also no excuses, because there's this thing called Squarespace that is like $100 a year, and you can self-design everything, which it's hard, to design that, but it's kind of like a template ready for you, but you must have a good website, or I don't even know how you survive anymore. So get your marketing strategy like to a T in place, short-term, long-term strategies. Do it now. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think, just remembering again what that experience is about. It's about people more than anything, and communication is key to that. And so we've worked with hotels come into situations where, like, literally 90 days after COVID, they hadn't sent one email out to their database, no communication whatsoever. Nothing was on the website about when they would reopen. There was, it was just really, I know people froze, like everyone, like kind of, the bottom dropped out, and all of us were in shock for a while, but like, you can't stay in that place, and we can't be in that place any longer. We've got to be having solid communication, as you said, having that strategy around digital and around how we're going to communicate. And then remember that this is a people business. And so having that warm hospitality, Bill Kimpton used to say, welcome to my living room, and with the fireplace, and all of those pieces, I think are so important for us to remember that hospitality is a people business. And that's hard with COVID. It is hard.
It's hard. I think we could spend the whole day talking about going back to true hospitality, because it does start with the boutique sector that really, Bill Kimpton, and having the wine in the evening and all of that great hospitality. We could spend the day talking about that, because I truly believe we went away from it with resort fees and this fee and that fee. That's not hospitality. That's sticking it to me. It's sticking it to you. And we got to go back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fran, that's a good point. When I worked for Mandarin Oriental, that's when I originally met, when I was with Mandarin. And I remember the first time I went to the Oriental Bangkok, and this was before the internet, right? And my driver walked right up to me as soon as I walked out of customs and said, welcome, Mrs. Helsall. Would you like, he had a bottle of water for me and a towel, and I'm like, oh, how did he know who I was? And they had faxed a picture of me to the hotel, because the hotel reached out to my assistant, and they faxed a picture. And then Kurt Bothweitel, who was the GM there for almost 30 years, I think, or maybe 30 or more than that, showed me this room where they had all of the information manually about all of their guests.
Wow.
And it was phenomenal. And I'm like, they did that before the internet. They did that before social media, before email. I didn't even have email.
Wow.
And so, you know, we can do it. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of technology. Obviously, we install a lot of it, but we can still, there are things that we can do without being solely dependent on a huge investment in some enormous CRM system. There are things that we can do, and we can do it in boutique hotels much better. And we've got to get back to that heart, I think. I think we did lose it.
I think with some big brands, it's definitely become sterile in many ways. And I think COVID made it even more. I think with boutique hotels, though, I blame that crazy emphasis on design, because people put all their money and energy into it, which it's important. I'm not saying it's not, because I love design, but then they don't put the money into, or the focus on customer service, or even like strategy or revenue management. So many boutique hotels like throw revenue management out the door, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, it's not just what the hotel looks like. So that's what I can't stand and speak. Like I'll speak to like a lot of like the newer hoteliers out there. Please, like, you need to understand the industry as a whole. I know it's a sexy career, but there's so much to it that goes into it. And we of course want everyone to be successful at it, but these little things you can't just, not see it. If you want like a hotel in a box, like do a courtyard or something like that, which is totally fine because you can make a lot of money on it. That's fine. Don't be ashamed of it. But like to really build an amazing, flourishing, long-term growth boutique hotel, you got to go back to what true hospitality is. You can't just be focused on only technology and only design. It's so much. There's just way too much that goes into it.
Right. So, absolutely. So I have a question that I've always been so impressed, Fran, with your ability to network with C-level everywhere you go, hotel owners. Your picture with Richard Branson kissing your cheek is one of my favorite all time.
I love that.
That is one of my favorites. But how is it that you, because we know we're dealing, for years we've been in a male-dominated industry, right? And so how is it that you have the courage, that you gave yourself that boost in your arm, or that courage to be able to have that conversation and be bold to develop those relationships? Because I think for a lot of women, that has been a struggle. So tell me how you did that, and then and then Ariella, I'd love for you to comment on, because you're just as bold. You've watched your mom for a lot of years, but you're younger than us, and you have that same boldness about you. So if you guys could talk about that, and Fran, I want you to start, because it's impressive what you've done and how you've built it.
Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. I think it's I'm a people person. I just love people. I love getting with people, talking, and I love talking about them. I love learning their histories, and I think I learned so long ago that the most impressive people were those like the Richard Bransons that have, if you look at his story, and where he's come, and all of those kind of people, it's so interesting and intriguing to me, and I love it. And I will do anything. Like, to get that interview with Richard Branson, the room was full of reporters from all over the world. And I walked on up and I got next to the stage and he picked me. And I don't know why, okay? And I had no questions ready, by the way. But it doesn't matter, because the other people want to know, well, how much is Virgin making, and all these things like that. I want to know who's the person behind it. So I think I connect with people on that personal level, and I think that's why they enjoy getting with me, because I'm not just, well, what's in it for me, right? I'm like, what's in this for you? Like, how can you be comfortable talking to me and engaging with me? And I'm a networker like crazy. You know, I spent years, I belonged to every organization there was. I, you know, honestly, I did go to USC for a year, but in an accelerated, you know, program. But my formal education was really in the industry. And I saw what my competitors were doing. And I said, I'm doing the opposite. So I started going to all these conferences, right? Hospitality conferences up the kazoo, had nothing to do with what I was doing at Carlson Travel, right? But it just blew my mind to meet all these phenomenal people and to be able to talk to them. And then I got into interviewing. I was actually interviewing them when I did a stint with a travel publication. And I was able to go around and interview. You're taking me back now because I interviewed some of the most, you know, the IHG CEO that passed away. Sadly, I can't remember his name, but I spent an hour with him and, you know, I got to know who he was. So I think it's, you know, it's having the passion for people, being open. By the way, I take calls from anybody. And not only my family, but my employees at my last business, the one that I sold, CCRA, they used to say, why are you letting those hotels in? They don't have an appointment. And I was like, I don't care. They took the time to come here. They're coming and sitting at my desk and I'm going to give them the time. So I love that. I love giving of myself and I'm a really good listener. So I think too, when you're going to networking, you have to be a good listener. And I think people really like that. So I think they like that about me and that allows more doors to open because I'm patient with them and interested and truly interested in who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's human nature. We want someone to ask about, you know, us and our story, and we're willing to tell it if someone asks, right? So I think that's being genuinely interested in who someone is so important. It's such a skill to have, and there are a lot of people who don't have that. Ariella, so how did that come about in your life?
Well, I think watching that, I've learned a lot. And I think actually my mom said this yesterday. I'm still learning because I forgot what it was, but I finally realized like the power of, I think it was tourism offices, which I didn't get for a long time. And it hit me recently, but I'm always noticing that my mother has always been right. And it's what she's been saying. It's like, I'm actually reading this book right now. I was looking at it. It's called Give and Take. And it's getting rid of this stereotype that if, you know, nice guys finish last, because it's actually nice guys finish first. That might have been 50 years ago, 100 years ago, but not anymore. The nice guys are the ones that truly succeed. And those that give are the ones, you know, who truly succeed, and not just in their careers, but in their heart, right? And that's what we were talking about. That's so important. And I think, you know, going back to what, you know, the question too about reaching all these high net worth people, you know, really powerful people. I've learned from my mom, you don't let someone tell you no. We call them gatekeepers. Okay, so in the BLA company, we call them gatekeepers. And gatekeepers are people who are mean. You're trying to get to someone high level and they're like, no, you're not good enough. And so we learn to, you know, we only reach out to people where we have similar values, or like we think that they're going to believe in the BLA mission. We're not going to waste our time with someone that doesn't fit, or like our values don't align. So first and foremost, step one, make sure that your values align. Two, if you run into a gatekeeper, like an executive assistant or someone who's not, you know, letting you get to the right person, there are other ways around it. It's a powerful tool called LinkedIn. I could not run BLA without LinkedIn. It is so amazing. And that's kind of like one of my tricks. It's also what my mom said, going to all these conferences. And I think with boutique hospitality specifically, they're also involved in a lot of different things like art and fashion and food and beverage. So I go to a lot of those conferences as well, or I network with people in there. So it's not always, Mom, like you said, you can't just be in your bubble. You got to get out of it because it's going to benefit you in the long term. And what I'm going to tell you, I was bad at. I think I had this sense of entitlement these last few years, and I know it. But Mom, you're right. You have to be patient with people and give people a chance. Like you have to give, even if you think it might, maybe it's a waste of time. You never know, and you have to listen. And I haven't done that. I've been childish. I know that and I see it. But Mom is always right because she told me you have to give people chances. And I've been doing that more. And I can see that it's made a huge impact. So I 100% agree with that. And then I think one tip that reminded me of this was that, yes, listen, don't force your products or services into someone's throat. That doesn't work anymore. Because I'll tell you a really funny story. At our conference, we had speed dating virtual and people loved it. And like people had so much fun with it, but there was like one complaint from everyone that there was this crazy lady who was like forcing her products. So you go on a virtual speed dating, you're supposed to be like, who are you? You know, maybe how did you enter the industry? What do you do? None of that. She was like, okay, so I'm just gonna use like a keyboard. My keyboard is $50. You got your credit card ready? Okay, let's do this. And she was doing like that. It wasn't a keyboard, but it was so funny because that is like very 60 years ago how you sell something, but you can't do that. I believe in boutique hospitality. How you sell is by authentically creating relationships with people, or it's through inbound marketing. Be such an amazing resource that people are obsessed with your culture, your brand, and they just want to, be more involved with you. That's what we do with BLLA, is that we try to stay true to who we are, stay on the path, stay on our mission, provide an array of free resources. And if there's someone who really loves who we are, they can inquire and, get more involved with us. And that's how we strategize it. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, you ladies are amazing. I love having you on here. So just on a side note, we do have one more insight this year. And it's moving a little bit because I'm on the digital advisory board for ALSAC, which is St. Jude's, their fundraising division. And so I am actually having their head of innovation and digital marketing on next week. And she just got called into a board meeting on Thursday. So we're moving it up probably to Tuesday morning. And through the end of the year, that's our cause. St. Jude, a portion of our revenues goes to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital every year. And so we're going to be doing a fundraiser for them during their Thanksgiving fundraising, which is in November. And Dragonfly is going to match up to $2,500 for any donations. And so I really want to get as many people on that as possible. Their cause is amazing, and actually, we in the hospitality, and we need to innovate in hospitality, and they won Fast Company's Top Innovator last year, which I think is phenomenal for a research hospital and their fundraising wing, right? And and they have pivoted so quickly during this pandemic. They were supposed to migrate to so much more digital in a 10-year plan, and they've done it in 6 months. I mean, it's phenomenal. And so I think their story will be encouraging, as well as the cause is one that's very close to my heart. So I'm going to have Melanie on here soon, and we'll get out information about that. I will have this up on our website, send you guys a link so you can distribute this out too, because I think your members who couldn't be on would love to hear your story more. You're so inspirational. So we got 4 minutes left. Really quickly, last question. And I'm going to go to you first, Ariella, and then I want Fran to close us out. So what encouraging word of hope can you give to our industry right now?
Take this time to reconnect with yourself and reconnect with your career as well. Where do you find fulfillment in life? Don't lose your mental state, because that's what's most important. Make sure that that's always first. And with our industry as a whole, with hope, come on, we know the boutique sector, we're different. You know why? Because we help each other. When times are rough, we're not like, oh, okay, bye. We're like, how can I help you? And that's what we've seen. We have proof of that, where people who are doing better are helping those that are really struggling. And that's why I love what I do every day. That's my hope.
And I would say positive affirmations every day. Reach out to people actively. set up little Zoom calls, with people, or FaceTime or whatever. Reach out, because you just don't know when somebody's sitting alone and needs I wish more people would reach out to me, honestly. So I'm always reaching out to other people. I think that's a big thing for today. And, to stay positive is to not listen to the news, and, try to watch as many positive things as you can, and do those affirmations, and stay true to who you are.
Who taught you the affirmations?
You did. Oh, and one last thing, Carol. My travel industry executive women's network, I have not given up on women. And women, I cannot believe how many are we're almost to the 12,000 mark globally now. We're developing a new board. Women are so engaged because we love to talk with each other. There's something about it, and especially in the industry. So that's another one of my passions. That's a give back to the industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have always been great about that. So appreciated. Well, ladies, thank you so much for taking the time. I know how busy you are, and how much work you're doing for the industry. And I just really appreciate your story, your family, and who you both are as individuals as well.